I mean, say it ain't so. Is this what we're doing?
What? Is that your face? Leah B. Henry and the lemonade?
I mean, is that Candiace Drive Back, Dillard Bassett? Like,
hey.
Like the last episode,
God.
You didn't have a single out. It wasn't all over YouTube. It wasn't all over the interwebs. And Nicki Minaj didn't say she would do a feature. Like, it's been so much that is taking place.
The world is a different place. My children, how did we get here? I don't know. It's crazy. Yes. You guys need to all download, stream, and watch Drive Back because the video is out. The single is out. The album has a release date. You guys.
When is
I can't give it away yet, but it's very soon. It's coming.
Okay.
So gird your loins, get yourselves ready, get your coins ready. Because we had a listening party. Leah couldn't be there because she had to work. She's a hardworking woman. But the listening party was amazing. Everybody loved all the music. I was crying. We revealed the cover for the album. It's all happening very fast. So I'm trying to stay sane.
I feel like life has been so transitional since we started this podcast. Like so much has gone on and happened in these 12 weeks that, life has happened. So, I mean, but listen, we are at the season finale. And as we promised, we said we were going to have, our good girlfriends and some celebrity guests on the show. And I just feel like if we're going to, do it big on our last episode, like cross promotion there ever is. You know what I mean? When you can reach across the region,
the owl,
and grab a good girl. So I thought, who better than the one, the only, Drew Sidora. I mean,
my sister.
Yes.
Clap it up for Drew.
Yes.
You guys, it's so good. And Candiace, I am watching your music. I just want to say congratulations. I'm so proud of you. The video is super litty. I'm just so proud of you, sis. It's
thank you.
Time. So I just want to acknowledge
I'm kind of living it. Thank you. Yes, it's been a crazy ride. So very recently, so Potomac, my show Potomac, we did our promo to Nicki Minaj's song, This Moment for Life. And everybody knows that song. I wish that I could have this moment for life. That's her song. So we did a Potomac remix to that song.
Yes.
And it goes, I'm going to be Potomac for life. I forgot it already.
I was right.
We had to literally mouth lyrics to this song. So somebody wrote these lyrics up the street at Bravo and they were like, here, take this. And we need you to lip sync to Nicki Minaj's song. So we did that. And it actually turned out really, really cute. You can check that out all over the internet.
It was super
so Queen Nicki Minaj decided last night or a couple of nights ago that she was going to post that promo. And she's talking about she's getting ready to host the reunion, child.
I saw that.
Is it giving?
I don't know what it's giving. It's giving. I'm very nervous. I'm very scared because is my boss going to give up his chair? I have no idea. It's crazy. But more importantly, this is all that matters. Nicki Minaj likes my song. So.
You gotta stand by the queen of rap. How that's going? How is it feeling? What is it?
I went to bed. I've arrived. I've made it. I'm here. Don't nobody else talk to me today because Nicki Minaj likes my song. So
you was just sleeping like this, the REM just took over.
Yep. Yes, it was all in my body. Yes, it was amazing. So. Let's see. Let's stay tuned and see what happens with that because
a remix.
The word on the street is remix. Let's speak that into existence, and let's see what happens with this reunion because apparently Miss Nicki is very serious about hosting a reunion. So
I saw, and then Karen Huger chimed in. I saw the whole
everybody, the whole cast was like, yes, we were all for it.
Who would be another great guest host for a reunion? Rihanna lives for Housewives.
She does.
Rihanna would be great.
Yes, she does.
We're just throwing some names out there. I'd be here for a Nicki and or Rihanna.
I would too.
Same. Yes.
I'm already here for your whole season. Potomac season. I'm here for the whole season.
It's so far, it's been hilarious. I'm cracking up watching it, and I was there. But like it's been super funny. So y'all stay tuned. Sundays at 8.
You haven't had to be static yet. I'm just like, come on, as the episodes come through, I'm like, my girl, not yet, because we did see that trailer. But my girl so far is staying out the mess. I live.
You know, I'm all about peace. Yes.
I felt the zen. I was like, okay, zen in the beginning. And then I saw that one. I was like, that didn't just happen. But it's keeping me tuned in. So I'm like, who done made my girl mad though? Like, and who I'm gonna have to get on a plane for?
Okay.
Chicago coming up to Potomac.
Right. Chicago about to show up to the party, honey. Chicago is in Potomac, sis.
I'm on my Atlanta business, okay? My Atlanta business.
Okay, because I can't wait.
With my husband and my family.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can't wait to see the reverse, but we're gonna hold that thought.
Okay.
Speaking
of families,
yes.
Okay, so this story is like hurting my heart because Safari and his wide, reckless mouth are in the news again. Okay, if you're not familiar with Safari and Erica Mena, they are debuting a new storyline, child, on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And it's giving, I'm ready to throw the marital Bible at Safari. You're getting to really see their like parenthood journey and them like going through, they just got married, they have a brand new baby or a toddler, and Erica is pregnant again. So Safari recently went on Young Jock's radio show where he was talking about marriage. And he had this to say.
Just makes everything way more technical.
Wow.
It does. I feel like when you get to live as like boyfriend and girlfriend, like grown man, real talk. I know it may sound childish and immature, but it's like marriage, I just feel like it just makes everything just way more serious than what it needs to be. Everything. Going to the supermarket, take out the garbage, just everything is way more serious. And I know there's some people who are like, oh, I've been married for 20, 30 years and this, that, and the third. Like, all right, cool, that's great, that's y'all. We live in a different era now. And especially with this era of social media and people letting it really like affect what they do on the daily. Like, it's not the same as, especially being in the public eye. You know, there's people like, yeah, I've been married for 20, 30 years, but yeah, y'all, everybody ain't in y'all business.
Okay, so yes, Safari, you are correct. You sound like a full grown ass man, baby. You sound immature as hell. You sound crazy. And if I was your wife, I would be embarrassed to be married to you and tethered to your ass for the rest of my life. I was beside myself. Like, you are really conflating marriage and social media. Like I said, I commented this somewhere. You are not worthy of the institution. You need to go and sit with yourself and think about what you have gotten yourself into. Like this is not boyfriend and girlfriend. And based on what he said, what I'm hearing is that you were never ready to enter into the institution of marriage and take it seriously as you led us to believe. I wanted Drew to chime in on this because Drew has been married for longer than I have. She has been through it. We've seen some of that play out on Atlanta Housewives. Drew is my girl. We've talked about things that, they're between us. She has counseled me on marriage. So I want to know what someone who has been in it thinks about what he said.
You see, I'm over here. I'm like, I'm rocking. I'm like, let me just smile and just, because I'm very triggered. I am triggered by his behavior. So let me start by saying this. yes, we have watched Erica transition from this beautiful bombshell into a beautiful wife and now into a mother. And it is a beautiful transformation. And what I do know is us women, we are able to conform. We're able to multitask. You know, we grow up a lot faster than men. It's like been scientifically proven, right?
Yes.
And I will say this, you guys witness things happen between, you know, my husband and I on this platform. And what we are in counseling, so I am learning the mind of a man, right?
Amen.
We've been married for coming up on 7 years. Amen. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Yeah, let's celebrate that. However, marriage is very hard. It is a lot of work. And when you add children into the mix, it adds another layer of challenge. And now being on Housewives for one season, I will say that it is definitely another added layer to that I think people do need to discuss because for men and what I've learned with my husband is they're already dealing with so much as a Black man, just living in the world with, you know, racism, what we witnessed with George Floyd. Then you had COVID happen. And I'm not making excuses for Safari's behavior, but as my husband explained it with COVID and the pandemic, and for men, it was just the weight of the world on the shoulders. It was dealing with things that we never had to deal with as a culture, as just a nation. And we were in crisis. And so when you add marriage and you add children on top of that, it's an explosion that happens. And I don't know, but it sent my husband into, you know, an early midlife crisis. He left. And what I learned was all of that childhood trauma that went unaddressed, it literally came to a head in the moment when we just so happened to be filming, but it was based on all the things that had occurred. And I just feel like it is a conversation because a lot of the things Safari said on the Young Jock interview are things that my husband has stated. So I can't just dismiss it. But I think it's something that we need to talk about because there's a mental health component that we just don't talk about. And I do feel like it causes this immaturity, but it's happening on this platform, which makes it so hurtful for us as women. And if you recall the first episode, like I sat there and I got up because I was embarrassed. I was hurt. I was like, we're not about to do this on this platform.
On national television.
On national television. And so I feel the pain of Erica. I feel the pain of what women have to deal with just in the marriage alone. But when you're on this platform and then you got 1 million people coming at him now, the aftermath of it airing, he's now having to deal with. I can't go and ignore that because I love him and I have to listen to what he's saying, and what Safari's saying is resonating. And I think although I'm not making an excuse, he better get into some help. He better find some counseling. He better find a way to productively, you know, deal with his trauma because he's acting out in this like immature, as my children have temper tantrums, it's a grown man temper tantrum, you know, so he does
man baby syndrome
that obviously he didn't deal with. And that's why Nikki had to deal with him the way she dealt with him. And now he's married and we're seeing it play out. It's like, dude, if you don't work on yourself and you bring that onto this platform, now we all have an opinion and we're going to state it. And you're going to be further with trauma because now we're attacking you.
Yes.
So I hope.
Now, what about what he was saying? He was also saying that marriage just makes everything more intense and more serious. And that also, to me, that bothered me as well, because it's like, you just sound like a man who was never ready to get married. Like, and this is just me. When my husband and I were preparing to get married, and then after we got married, yes, there was a change because now we are married. We entered into this institution before God and everybody. We professed our love to one another before God and everybody. And we entered into a covenant that is until death do us part. That is what I believe. I follow many of the Bible's admonitions about marriage. And I just feel like the way that he was talking to Jock, it just sounded like he was kind of playing. And okay, and now I'm married, so oh shit, now it's real. But why is everything so serious? Things for Chris and I, they changed, but they didn't change when we got married, if that makes sense. Like we love each other the same. We treat each other the same. Our expectations of one another are the same as they were when we were just fiancés. and when we were just boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, I knew for a long time that I wanted Chris to be my husband, and he knew that he wanted me to be his wife. So we operated in that before we got married. So when we got married, it wasn't like there was this huge tornado that came through and, you know, threw everything off. It was just, okay, now it's official, and we gonna operate in this officialness. But it seems like Safari is kind of making it out to be marriage makes everything more serious. No, you just weren't ready to be married. You weren't ready for that commitment.
Well, also, but like, let's put into perspective. I just want to play devil's advocate for a second, because like, let's just go back a little bit. Because when Erica and Safari got together, let's be clear, most people didn't even think it was real. People thought it was like a social media reality TV doo-wop type of thing. And I remember I interviewed Safari right before the pandemic started, and I said to him and Erica had just had the baby, and I said, "No, Safari, I'm not gonna lie, I really thought that the shit was fake. I thought it was fake." And he was like, "No, I really do love her. Like, aside from the social media hoorah, I really do love this girl." So I think that, those factors play into part, because you met Chris before reality TV. Drew, you were with your husband before reality TV. So, speak to me, I guess, from y'all's perspectives about the difference, because y'all are saying there's obviously a difference when your marriage is put on the forefront in these reality TV spaces, but when your relationship is kind of concocted of a result of that, does that make it? Because, like you guys say all the time, some of this shit is just reality TV. We don't take it that serious, or we know when to turn it off and on, or there's a difference. But when your relationship was literally bred and built in that, are we mad at Safari for looking at it not as serious, when, not to say that the marriage couldn't have been, but do you see what I mean? Like, the essence of which the relationship grew, y'all got to water and weather your relationship independently from the show, whereas they created their thing from
in front of the world.
So does that make a difference?
I think that's a really valid point, and I didn't think about it like that. However, marriage was created before reality television. Marriage has been a covenant long before reality TV. So yes, while they were building their relationship, and their relationship, really came to be in front of the world, that doesn't change marriage. That doesn't change you being ready to enter into this covenant.
But you say covenant, not everybody says covenant, because you know what?
Well, that's the problem. That's what I'm saying. You were never ready or cut out to enter into this institution. You were playing house. You were playing in the sandbox and kikiing and doing what you thought was cute because Mona was giving you a check, and now you looking like a fool on Jock Show.
I'm gonna say this though. Because listen, my idea of marriage and what I watched with my parents, that ain't what I got. So I'm like, that's learning that everybody's marriage is different, and everybody's idea of marriage is different, because we clearly entered into this marriage with two different ideas of what we thought marriage would look like. And dating is fun, going out and turning up together is fun. Walking on the beach is fun. Right. It's like when you get married and then you start to talk money talks, and then you start to combine things like, I got a microwave and you got a microwave, simple stuff. I feel like I kind of agree with him in the fact that it's like, now you got to talk about what microwave we're going to keep. And I just been had my microwave. Like, why am I talking about, and got to prove to you how my microwave is better than your microwave? Like, are we seriously arguing about a dang old microwave? Like, but it becomes that. It's like, you just left the house, bro, and you didn't even tell me you were leaving. And he's like, I'm just going to the store. Tell me when you're going to the store.
When you're leaving.
So I know that you're out the house and I'm here by myself.
Right.
And it's so I can't dismiss what he's saying all the way. And I'm not saying, again, it's right, but these are things that my husband and I talk about, and we have discussions and disagreements and arguments about, that I'm like, how can they be saying the same thing and they don't even know each other? So there may be some truth to it, but when we got on the show, I'll say this. Things we were arguing and dealing with before the show, it just magnified on the show.
Oh,
because
for sure.
As long as we were able to have those arguments behind closed doors, it was like between us. But now you're arguing in front of all of America. It puts it on blast, and now you got to do interviews and address it. All the while, you don't have the tools on how to deal with it. It's just now more pressure,
magnified,
more attacks, magnified, and you're getting attacks. Like, I don't know what he deals with when he goes out in the world, but it ain't all nice because people tell him how they feel about him, So now he has everyone speaking on a covenant that's supposed to be just between us. My mama got an issue. His mama got an issue. The lady at Walmart got an issue. They see him like,
oh my God.
And I'm
not Ralph. I'm mad at you.
I'm not crazy, but it's hard for him, and I'm starting to understand that, and just see him for what he has to deal with being on this platform. So,
yeah,
that was good, Drew. That was
good. That's all I'm saying. It has an impact, and
I mean, yes, it definitely has an impact.
It's a journey. Yes, it's a journey. But my husband is having the conversation, and we're in counseling. That's why I say, Safari, like, get it together. Go talk to somebody that can help you because this ain't
by yourself. By yourself. I think that's important when you're going to counseling as a couple. It's also important to supplement that with individual therapies because when you come into a marriage, you bring all 37,500 of your bags with you. And those bags affect the way that you move in your marriage, the way that you receive love even in your marriage, the way that you receive criticism in your marriage is all because of your bags that you brought with you. So you gotta be in individual therapy so that you can come to the table in couples therapy with tools and with an understanding of where you are and where you've come from on your journey of life into your marriage.
Absolutely.
So that's real. Yes. I still think Safari is an idiot.
Okay, listen, and one last thing. I was interviewing Scrappy, and I asked him, listen, you're a supportive man of your wife. She just had a baby. What do you say to Safari? He also said it was cultural. He feels like there's a bit of a cultural difference when Caribbean men take care of their kids. Now, I don't know that to be true because most of my friends who are Caribbean, their dads hold them down. But, he was like, I did tell Safari stripping, he needed to go see that baby in the NICU. You know what I mean? Like, he was wilding a bit. But, Jock was like, not Jock, Scrappy was like, listen, I think that, he's kind of trolling right now because he knows what he does for his kids. And he knows that this is a reality TV game. So hopefully we can work it out. I just, it as a woman, I think we all have been in our separate situations where we felt like we were doing it alone. To watch that on TV play out, I think every woman, whether married or not, was triggered watching that situation go down because you can't do anything but feel bad for her, thinking of raising, being
Two
married
kids
and then being scared to tell your husband you're pregnant when you're married. Newly married at that. I know it's like
that was hard. That was hard for me to watch.
Yeah, very, very triggered.
Very
triggered. And I hope that she gets counseling for herself too, because even in bearing children, we suffer like postpartum depression and all kinds of things. Our bodies are changing, our hormones are changing. So for her own sanity and her own mental health. So when he gets his help, she'll be strong enough to receive him. Like I hope that happens. She gotta have somebody to talk to too, because that's a whole lot.
Yeah, no, and and the baby child. So, and since we're talking about being triggered, we have to talk about what triggered everybody and their mama last week, which was the baby. Okay, I knew when Elton John and Madonna started talking that shit was hitting the fucking fan. Okay, Madonna
done came out of the Kabbalah house. She done came out of the woods, honey,
and was like, fuck the baby. Okay. So for anybody who's listening and you've just been under a rock, let us play what the baby said that started this whole situation. Take a listen.
Jesus.
AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks, put a cell phone light in the air. Lady, if your pussy smell like water, put a cell phone light in the air. Fellas,
lights up.
Fellas, if you ain't sucking nigga dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the air.
Let's be real about this shit.
Yeah, keep it fucking real.
Some of y'all niggas suspect as a motherfucker. Let's be real.
So this was a long spiel where he half apologized but didn't really apologize. And then the conversation came up because T.I. said, well, if Lil Nas X can do what he wants to do. Why can't the baby have his opinion? And then it turned into a conversation about homosexuality in the Black community, and several people, Questlove, Madonna, Elton John, Dua Lipa, Demi Lovato, several celebrities have come out to condemn the baby and his words and his actions. And so, you know, while I think we all can agree that shit was egregious as fuck, the conversation that I really wanted to dive into with you two is cancel culture, because right now the conversation is teetering on, will this man have a career after this, and the roles that play into why he was canceled? Because I've heard conversations where it was straight up homophobic, he's canceled, right? I've also heard a really interesting perspective, which I want to hear your thoughts on, is the fact that now all of these white celebrities are chiming in is now making it racial. Right? Like at first it was okay, he was wrong for saying the homophobic shit, cool. But now that all these white people are kind of putting the jabs in his back, it's now making it a little bit racist. And now it's going a little too far. So ladies, I want to know from you, cancel culture, does it exist? Is it real? And should the baby be on that list if it is?
Cancel culture is definitely real. You know, the Saints have tried to cancel me a time or two. Okay, this is what really exists. Should the baby be canceled? I tweeted when it first came, when this clip of him on stage first came out, and I said the baby has a lot of explaining to do, because, and at that time people were trying to cancel him, but I'm of the school of thought that, you know, social media exists in this really ridiculously loud vacuum, and life does not happen in a vacuum. So yes, he said what he said, but what was the context? Was it cut off? Was there something that we missed? I always ask questions. I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, even when, you know, as Leah said, it's a completely egregious barrage of statements. So I waited, and he has since come out and said, essentially doubled down on what he said. He kind of apologized, like Leah said, but then he went back and said, he basically tried to call himself a martyr and claim that, you know, he's elevating and this is his time, and, you know, the world is attacking him because it's his moment to shine. And it's giving very much narcissism and just, you know, not in his mind for me. And at this point, I think that the way that you respond to what has been said or dug up is more important than what was said or dug up. And if he, you know, if he had an explanation that made sense to me, that was, well, this is what I actually meant, or, you know, what I said was ignorant and I'm sorry, then I could say, okay, I'm gonna look at you sideways, but I'm still gonna, you know, give you room to breathe and move forward. But the fact that he's doubling down, I'm almost ready to say, okay, we don't need you. We don't really want you operating in and around, you know, our society, especially when you spew such heinous, disgusting, incorrect information as conflating HIV with homosexuality, saying things like you die in 2 to 3 weeks from HIV, when that is absolutely untrue. There was a time at the very beginning, at the beginning of HIV, that yes, people were losing their lives at rapid rates. But I have family members, I have friends who have been HIV positive for decades, for longer than I've been alive. And with one pill, you can keep HIV, keep that virus at bay and live a full, long, happy, healthy life. You cannot get HIV by standing next to someone, by eating off of their fork. You know, if like it's what he said was irresponsible in a way that goes way deeper than just talking about cancel culture. And that's what was offensive to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, yeah, first and foremost, you know, we're not supposed to be knowledgeable in all things when you get on a platform. He's a talented rapper, but it doesn't mean that he has knowledge in politics and he's socially aware. So I'm with you as far as, yeah, you know, you said some things that hurt a culture of people, but he's also been abusive towards women, and waiting to hear what he's going to say. And I feel like we have a responsibility on this platform to go get informed, to seek the knowledge so you can correct your statements and your behavior. And you have to understand that when you are on a platform such as his, and because he's continuing not to get that information and get that knowledge and get informed, is what saddens me, because it's hurting people. And I am never here for people offending other people. You have 10 million followers, sir, and you're not willing to sit down and say, you know what, I have a responsibility to these 10 million people, make the right decision. And his failure to do that, I feel like, is now setting us back as a culture, because what's happening is, you already know the fight. How we go from Black Lives Matter, and I'm wearing my jacket. We go from Black Lives Matters to talking about equality, talking about unity. And this is the moment that we've been marching for. You make a mistake and you offend people, right? But there's a conversation to be had. And I just wish in this moment he would have had the conversation for us to get informed as a culture. Because guess what? When we divide our own culture, you better expect that the white people gonna come in and be like, okay, they're doing the job for us. We're just gonna come and hit the button. We're just gonna come and make sure that as a culture we further divide it. And so that's the fight that we've already been coming from. And I just feel like on this platform we have such a responsibility. And it really goes back to the Safari conversation, because when you don't seek help for yourself and you don't keep your mental health in check, and you continue on this ignorant path, you not only hurt your loved ones, your wife, your kids, your mama, but you start to offend a whole culture, a whole segment of people. And then guess what happens? It's no good, because now your money stops. You know, now your career is over, because like you said, Candiace, we don't need you. You don't need us. We don't need you representing us in this way. And I think it's really sad to see, because now it's spiraling into a cultural war, right? How do you come back?
And it's hard as persons of color, because I'm always going to give my people, our people, the benefit of the doubt. I'm always going to do that first, because there's enough of the world out here, you know, speaking out against us and seeing us as the enemy and as, you know, the evil people in society. But you make it really hard to do that when you are not willing to show improvement. And there hasn't been any of that. It's just been, you know, a back and forth, a vacillating. I'm sorry, but I'm not, because y'all are coming for me. And at this point, you know, I don't believe in cancel culture, but I do believe in putting somebody in timeout. And the baby needs to go to timeout until he can get his thoughts together. Because and Drew, like you said, I'm thinking about, he has children, he has kids. You can't be out here getting canceled and taken off of stuff and stopping your bag because you're a fool, when you have mouths to feed and people that are looking to you for guidance and support.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Danny just booked that whole next leg of her tour because her baby daddy in some shit now. Okay. Danny Lay trying to figure out fuck. Okay, my child just got thin as fuck. So I mean, it's a mess. You know, the thing for me, that really bothered me about the situation is he, you know, like you said, I think the moment of redemption should have been the moment where he spoke out immediately after that. And I think that whether or not he was aligned with the homophobic comments or not, I think simply he could have just said, I hurt a group of people, I apologize, and I'm trying to move forward. I apologize, and kept it moving, got off the internet, and people forget. Y'all know that. People be mad at y'all last season and love the next season. So, I mean, in the same sense, if he would have just shut the hell up, I think we could have avoided this whole thing. But he got on the internet, doubled down, said some more ignorant ass shit, and then kept going. Now, this is the conversation that I also feel like is a part of this, is a sub conversation about this. How do we feel about conservativeness versus homophobia and how they mesh, right? Because, you know, what T.I. I think was trying to say, he said it very ignorantly, and I think he was missing it. But I think I think people who are conservative in the sense of, you know, being gay, they find a hard way to articulate is like, okay, if I grew up in a Christian household and I've been Christian my whole life, and I believe that I would not want my child or, you know, my family members to be gay, whether that's your choice or not, I'm just saying from the perspective of a person. Why is it that a conservative person cannot want that for their child? and it be considered homophobic or anti-gay, because I think that's what T.I. was saying, right? Like Lil Nas X can get on stage and do and kiss men and do what he wants to do, but the minute someone says, I don't want that or I don't like that, it's a problem. And Candiace, you know, in our last episode with Justin, we discussed being an ally and the way that looks. And I said, for me, I don't know if I'm hanging a pride flag out my window. I stand that everyone should have equality. But I can understand because, I have family members. I'm from the Deep South. So I understand the notion of people not being okay with homosexuality. And I think that if you respect people as humans, that's the minimum. I don't got to like your lifestyle. I don't got to like anything about you to respect you as a human being. And so how do we have that conversation? Because I think that's where now the conversation is going. I think that the people who are on that conservative notion don't know how to voice that in an articulate way. But I feel like that's where the head is going, because I don't think that it's fair to say that all people in general have to like homosexuality. I really don't. I think that it's fair to say that's not what I choose for my lifestyle, my family. That's not what I want for my children, and it not be offensive. I think it's just a difference in the same way. So how do we combat that conversation? Because I feel like that's where the Black community is headed now, right? Like I think on the gay end, you can't say everybody's homophobic just because they don't want their children to be gay or they don't want to identify it or don't care for that lifestyle. But on the other hand, people who do feel that way, you don't have to be homophobic either.
Yeah. I think it's a human rights issue, right? I think what T.I. said is a danger to the human rights of the LGBTQ community. I'm also from the South. I grew up, around uncles and cousins who were quick to say, oh, he's got a little sugar in his tank, or, oh, we don't do that gay shit around here. I grew up around that, right? And I'm so glad I left home because I was able to get out into the world and experience all kinds of people, including members of the LGBTQ plus community, to learn for myself that who you sleep with ain't got shit to do with shit. And you should not be treated differently or seen as other because you are a person with a penis who also wants a penis, or you are a person with a vagina who also is attracted to somebody with a vagina, or you are a person who was born a man but is actually a woman in your mind, body, and spirit. That has nothing to do with us. I think the danger, and why I do think that what T.I. said is rooted and has roots in homophobia is because that kind of language is dangerous. It's dangerous to this entire group of people who have been fighting for equal protections, human rights, the right to marry, the right to work, the right to live, the right to eat, the right to do anything. And I can almost conflate it to racism, because there were people at a time not so long ago in my grandmother's and my great grandmother's generation who were around white people who would say, I don't have a problem with Black people, but I don't want y'all around me. And we see how that has played out in the very dismal, ugly history of this country. And I think that language is dangerous, because what Lil Nas X was doing is not what the baby was doing. Lil Nas X is trolling these homophobic assholes who have something to say about him living in his truth. Because where was all this outrage when Madonna was kissing Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears, not because they were living in their truths, but because they wanted to just, appropriate gay and lesbian culture for a moment. Okay, so I am so proud of Lil Nas X. I'm here for every bit of his trolling, because it's sending a message, and it is over the top. It's definitely over the top. But if you're going to get a message out, if you're going to have people understand you and hear you, if you're going to start conversations like this one, you got to be that. So I respect what he's doing. And I think T.I. needs to go back to the drawing board, because you cannot compare a man who is fighting against homophobia to a man who is probably hiding behind homophobia because he may be dealing with some things himself. But you didn't hear that from me.
Where's my Drew cup to sip when I need it?
Right. Listen, we all need a cup right now for that.
Straw, okay? No,
it is something trending where what you're saying, Candiace, we will see, but it's something trending. That video, have y'all seen it? Where he was grabbing.
Yes.
And so what you're saying, I'm like,
that's where I'm getting it from.
I'm like, is that a good voiceover video? I can't tell if he do y'all feel like that was voiceovered?
Are you serious?
Why do you think that?
Right.
That was clearly his voice.
Now I gotta go back and watch it. But I didn't think
Right.
No, because they dub voices. Y'all know that they dub voices. All you need is a man who sounds similar. There's people who do voice acting all day. And when they said so what we're talking about, just for clarity, there's basically a video circulating online where the baby is engaging with a man in a very questionable way. And genitalia gets brought up, and but the part where he talks about genitalia, his face is off the camera, which is why I was like, that's my only reason.
Okay.
I kind of feel like that could have been played a different way. I'm just saying, and I'm and I'm here for him getting dragged left and right, because I think it's hilarious, because he should have never said that shit, and then his PR team is horrible. I was almost about to volunteer to do it for free at this point, because it was just getting fucking ridiculous. But that's the hill he wants to die on, so I'm gonna let him. But I did think, I was like, I gave that the benefit of the doubt.
But it wasn't just the voice. The audio wasn't the only thing that's in question. It's also the video, the body language. You know, he's kind of coming at the guy, but then there's like, you see hands and it's dark. It's like, why? Okay, you are clearly like giving like Boosie vibes. You are anti-gay everything. Keep the gays away from me. I ain't with all this gay shit. If you're giving Boosie vibes, okay? So why are you with your black ass in a dark room with a man?
Well,
that goes against everything that men that think like that say and do.
It makes sense now. That's why he be hitting bitches, because he don't like them. We ain't
guys. Wow.
We've never seen the baby punch a man. I'm just saying.
Toxic masculinity is alive and well.
Some FBI investigators putting together all these puzzles that I'm going to have to go back
just
and watch
saying.
now.
I'm just saying.
He's giving us so much to just deal with. I'm going to deal with the facts.
Yeah.
I'm going to deal with what he said, what he didn't say, and what he should have said. But I just feel like at the end of the day, like, this entertainment world, it really consumes people, because we live in a world now where social media is so prevalent, and you feel like you got to hurry up and respond and say something, and then you got to get on IG Live. And it's like, we have forgotten and gotten so far away from the fact that we're still human beings. We are entertainers. We're on this platform. Yes, but we are people at the end of the day. And let's just go back to basics. And just as humankind, let the celebrity go. Just don't offend people. Do not offend people. It's a difference from standing up for what you believe in versus being homophobic and saying slanderous things that can hurt people. And I feel like when we just water it and dumb it down to the basics of world peace, be kind, have a heart, be open to conversation, because I can appreciate the fact if he came back and said, you know what? I made a mistake. Can we open up the floor to discuss what I should have done better, or what I should know that I maybe wasn't taught? Because my people came up from the South, not everyone has that exposure. And just because you have millions of dollars and you are the number one rapper that everybody loves, doesn't mean that people are feeding into your soul and your spirit as a human being. We put celebrities on these platforms and expect them just to know, and we're learning in front of the camera. And so I just feel like it is a disservice to not address celebrities and be able to have this open conversation. Because if we don't do it, then the white man gonna come and he gonna cancel you, your family, your culture, and everything else. And like you said, Candiace, I hate that we've gotten to that point of having to cancel people. I wish that we could have more of a roundtable discussion to be able to teach. But again, the social media, it's like the baby, you don't have to hit IG Live and respond. You don't even have to say anything. Go back home. Go back to your foundation and just understand who you are as a human being and how you need to deal with others in this world, period.
Okay, if he would have shut up, he could have sat at the red table with Willow and Jada and everybody would have forgot. He talked way too fucking much. Like, he did it to himself. That's why it's a little entertaining for me, because like at this point, you did it to yourself. Like, if they just took his phone, took the phone. I mean, maybe even after the first apology, like that was shitty. If they would have just took his phone, he would have disappeared for a couple of months, maybe not performed for a couple months, came to the red table like August and Will and them and
Jordan Woods.
Jordan Woods, we forgave her ass.
White girl with the money laundering mama. Mo's daughter, like all of them. The red table soothes the community. I don't know why. But it does. Yes. You know, when Will and Jada and them getting, involved, it just changes the situation. But they're open to having the discussion. And Drew, I think, to your point, I think it really comes down to ignorance and like your upbringing. A lot of Black males are disconnected emotionally anyway. So empathy is not something that Black men in general are the greatest at. Not all of them, but emotional unintelligence is a real thing for Black men. I mean, and it's not their fault either, because little boys don't cry. Stop crying before I give you something to cry about. That has been their upbringing. They've never been able to have empathy. So then when we're talking about you need to have empathy for a whole community of people that you've been told your whole life not to like, why? I don't get it. So sometimes I really do understand, but again, for you to have 10 million followers, you got a fucking team. I also believe
you should have.
Where was the team at? Where was the team? His team failed him too.
But because in this entertainment, who do you have around you that's going to keep you grounded? You got men running around, and you lose your whole foundation. So if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. I really believe that, and that's the part where I extend sensitivity to those. Like you said, it's so on point, Leah, because them kids in Chicago, they only know to choose violence. They don't know how to use their mouths and their vocabulary to understand the things that they don't understand, to be able to articulate that I don't know, I don't have the answers. They choose a gun, and wake up on violence every single day for what they have or don't know and should know. And so that's where we come in as responsible people that have taken on a culture that's like, I want to do better. I went and you went and got your higher degree education. You guys have that foundation where now we're in a position to be able to speak about it, which is why I love what y'all are doing, because it opens up a conversation and dialogue that we need the people to hear.
Yes.
Absolutely. Agreed. Yeah. And
agreed.
It's the inner work, the interworkings that have to play out. And I think, also too, when it comes to cancel culture, we can start to then humanize a little bit more when we look at it in that way versus just the offense. Sometimes.
He's done.
But he is done.
It's like he's proving himself to be an idiot. But I think we all kind of can identify with this. When you are put on a platform, large, medium, or small, you are dehumanized, and people begin to not only not see you as human, but they see you as this caricature that they can just, stab and then twist the knife and, attack at will, at any whim that they choose. And I think that what you were both saying is true, that it's easy to remove the humanity from the baby and forget that he is a product of his environment. And that environment is obviously one that has, not taught him about the many different facets and corners and silos of a society that does include gay people, the LGBTQ plus community. And it also is, and this is why it's hard for me, because yes, I'm gonna give you some grace, but in 2021, in this year of our Lord, when there are so many iterations of the LGBTQ plus narrative that's available to us, gay people, the entire community has just had such a resurgence and a swelling of support and dialogue and conversation in a way that it hasn't been allowed to exist before. 10, 15 years ago, we weren't talking about the LGBTQ plus experience like we are today. And you have to live under a rock to not have some sort of understanding of that. Even if you don't want to, it's gay people are everywhere. They ain't going nowhere. They sitting in boardrooms and classrooms. They're everywhere, and their story is everywhere. And I mean, you have to be blind to not see it, and even if you don't want to understand it. So that's where I'm like, okay, I want to give you grace, but can I? Because you should know better a little bit. You should know a little bit better.
I conclude this to be Megan Thee Stallion's doing. Somebody on social media said Megan don't even know how heavy her left hand is, because when you fuck with Megan, everything goes in shambles. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. Megan, don't play with my bitch, or you get. Okay? I mean, yeah, I think it's a hard line. Yeah, shout out to the Stallion one time, because man, Tori and fucking the baby can't catch a break.
Okay, yeah.
And do they deserve go? Anyway, listen, we could be here all day, but we must conclude our season finale. So we have to thank our guest, Drew Sidora.
I love you guys. Thank you for thinking of me and letting me come in and chat. So much to talk about, but yes.
I know.
We'll have you back.
Yes. Come back anytime.
Because I loved your perspective. It was great. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social medias and what you got going on.
Yes. So please follow me, at Drew Sidora on all the social media platforms, so you can stay in tune with everything we have going on. I have a new movie coming out, guys.
Oh, sure.
Yes. On Lifetime. Super, super excited. But just, stay in tune with me. And, I'll show back up here on the podcast anytime you guys call.
Yes. We'll be calling. Don't you worry, girl.
Okay, girl. I love y'all.
Love you too.
All right.
Okay. And yes, make sure everyone uses our hashtag. So that's what we're doing. And let us know what you think about the season. Tell us your favorite moments. We will be back. And Candiace, we got to plan some stuff because I got some ideas, but we'll see about next season. Okay. In the meantime, make sure you always catch my girl on Real Housewives of Potomac Sundays on Bravo, 8:00, right?
8 p.m. We're 8 p.m. Yep. And don't forget to stream, download, and watch Drive Back, my new single. It's out now. It's getting great reviews. Thank you so much to everybody who's been streaming and commenting and posting and dancing to it. I love you guys so much. Album coming soon. We're dropping another new single before the album comes out. So lots and lots of stuff going on. Some live shows coming up.
Oh,
so get into it. And thank you for supporting this podcast. So that's what we're doing. We see you, we hear you, we love your comments. We love that you all are engaging with us in the DMs. Thank you. We will be back very soon with more content, more guests, and more craziness, because we're gonna give you some crazy. That's a given.
Yes. So in the meantime, re-listen, catch up and send it to your friends, because we'll be back soon on So That's What We're Doing.
Ew.